Hello, everyone. This is Mohammad Akif with Akif CPA, and today we'll be discussing what happens when you get paid cash under the table. That means you are getting money without any taxes. Is it okay for you to accept it? And what happens when you do accept it? So there are a lot of scenarios behind it. I know you must have known someone who must have received a cash or known someone who was paying cash. So what happens with it when you pay cash or when you receive cash? Is it okay? And then if it's okay, what do you have to do? Right. So this is what we'll be getting into. We have a bunch of other videos out there for you in terms of taxes and tax savings. If you are new to this and this is your first time getting paid cash under the table, reach out to us. We can help you with the taxes. We can help you what you need to do with the cash, how this needs to be reported. Secondly, also that, for example, if you do get paid cash, do you really skip it? What if the person that is giving you cash reports it to the IRS, even though you might think that they're not reporting? So these are all the scenarios that you might be going through or you might be thinking about that when you are accepting cash, what really needs to be done here. So without any further ado, let's get into detail. I'm going to share my screen with you guys so you can see what I am seeing. So this is one of our blocks that we wrote quite a while back. It is one of the top performing ones because a lot of people do search for this kind of stuff. That means it is relevant. So I hope we can help you here and we can get this done. So let's get this started. All right, so let me share my screen with you guys. Okay, so here we are. I mean, so what happens again? Understanding the difference of being paid under the table and being paid cash. That means paid under the table, and of course you'll be getting paid in cash. So if you're getting paid under the table through a check, that's a different scenario. In this case, paid on the table is related to being paid in cash. All right. So is it okay for you to accept it or not? So definitely it's okay. It's okay for you to take the cash. There's nothing wrong with the employer also paying you in cash and for you to receive money in cash. What happens next is what matters, right? It's not about, oh, this is how I'm getting paid. It's never about that. But what you need to do when you get paid, and it doesn't matter you get paid through cash, check, or e-transfer. These are all the same things, but it's very important to understand in scenario. I'll run through multiple scenarios. It's important to understand what you do with that cash. So for starters, of course, you are not breaking any law by accepting any payments in cash. What happen? You are breaking the law when you don't report it. That's the key here, right? It's not about you accepting. Is okay to accept? It's about what you do with that cash. So technically, you are supposed to report it, and then I'll tell you why you should report it. In some cases, and this is what I've seen over the years, that your employer pays you cash, right? They're paying you cash, and you think that they're not reporting. I've seen cases where 3 years, 4 years down the road, we get a letter. The client gets a letter from the IRS saying that they owe thousands of dollars, and then they're baffled. Like, how come? And then next thing you know, they come to me and they say, Muhammad, this is what is going on. I'm getting a letter. What do we need to do? We go back, look at the IRS transcripts, the wage transcript, and next thing you know, what happens? The employer who paid them cash reported that to the IRS. And then but they never gave the person who received the cash a form. Which, back in the day was 1099M miscellaneous. Nowadays it's 1099 NEC. So they were never issued a form. So they were, my client was thinking it's okay. I never received a form. I don't have to report it. But what happens in the back was that the employer or the company that you were working for did report to the IRS. And then what ends up happening is that 3-4 years down the road, you get this nice letter from the IRS says you owe us money, and then the things start. So don't assume that your employer is not going to report it. That's number one, right? The assumption is that if you are getting paid under the table as cash, that the person who's paying me is not going to report it. That's a wrong assumption because you don't know for sure. They have their own CPA, they have their own tax professional they're working with, and they might come back and tell them, hey, you know what, you paid them cash is okay, but report it to the IRS, because that's how they can claim expenses, right? That's how they can claim deductions. So or at the end of the day, it might be better for them to report it, and then they will most likely report it. But what you do with the cash is your responsibility. Are you going to report it or not? So my biggest thing is that if you get paid cash, report it. Because there's so many other ways that you can reduce the income. You can maximize deductions. You can do so many other things. But if you don't report it, and if after 4 years you get this letter, then the IRS comes to you, you don't have much options, right? Because they're saying, tell me what happened 4 years ago. You don't have receipts. Your credit card has changed. Your bank accounts have changed. Where are you going to find expenses? Where are you going to find deductions? So you don't really have options. So biggest thing is, even if you get paid cash, please report it. Please report it. You can write off expenses. You can write off deductions. You can reduce the income down. Pay as minimum tax as possible. That's something that we can help you with. But you must report it. All right. So let get that out of the way. That I'm not going to report it, because you don't know if your employer is going to report it, the person who's paying you. And most likely scenario, they will be reporting it. All right. So again, I mean, the key thing is that you must report it, and then the employer is going to be reporting it, so you should be reporting it as well. All right. So let's go to the next option. So what are, I mean, again, knowing what type of employment you're in. Technically, are you a W-2 employee or contractor? Essentially, when you're getting paid cash, again, it could be a net amount or it could be a gross amount. So net amount of your check or gross amount of your check. So find out, right? I mean, you should know how they're classifying you. So if they're not taking any taxes, technically you are a contractor by their default, but doesn't mean that you are really. But this is how the employer is classifying you. So make sure you understand this, right? This is very important, because if they are defining you as a contractor and then they pay you cash, they might not issue you a form, it's okay, but you can report this as a contractor on your tax return. You can write off tools, equipment, travel expenses, meals, home office. There's so many things, equipment, office equipment. You can write off quite a bit of stuff to get that job done. Whatever was required to get the job done. So if you use your own tools and equipment to do the job, you can have a write-off. This is very important. A lot of people don't understand. It's all about trying to put stuff together, right? Put all the information together, and then the only way you can do this is you're writing off all the expenses. So make sure that you are able to take advantage, because if I'm getting paid cash, I'm going to report it, write off whatever I can. I mean, this is what I'm going to do: travel expenses, meals, again, home office deductions, office supplies, whatever is required to get the job done, right? To deliver that service that you're doing, you can write off as long as is necessary and continuous, right? So this is something that we should be all working towards with. Again, so next, this brings me to my next point, which is to track your cash payments, right? Make sure you tally this with your employer. Make sure you say, tell me how much you have paid me this year, because I've seen cases where a lot of employers will over report, in some cases under report. So make sure you are keeping track of what you're getting paid, and make sure that that amount matches with the employer amount, right? I mean, they should be able to tell you, hey, this is what we have paid you so far. Can you check? So do this with everybody who pays you cash, everybody who pays you in check too, right? Make sure that you're keeping track of all the payments you're receiving. This is very important, because a lot of people lose track. They get small amount here and there. Make sure you do. So how you can you do this? Again, proper record keeping. Proper record keeping is the key here. If you are in a business where you get paid cash quite a bit, I will highly recommend that you hire a bookkeeper or accountant to help you put this together. Yeah, this month they might charge a small amount, but think of the taxes you might be saving, right? We a lot of times are a lot of people are looking at this as an expense, but I look at this as an investment. Your bookkeeper is an investment. So find the right bookkeeper, because that can really save you money. Find the right bookkeeper. That's the key here, right? This is an investment to save you taxes, because if you have right bookkeeping, you can save taxes. How? Right bookkeeping, timely bookkeeping will get you the financial data to plan. to do tax planning, to do tax savings. This is the key. So right bookkeeping leads you to financial data that leads you to proper tax planning, timely tax planning to save you taxes. So saving taxes equals good timely bookkeeping. All right. So be sure to track your income. That's number three here. And then there you go. I mean, what I was telling you about. Get your employer to provide you a form. This is so true, right? You have to ask them. The forms are due on January 31st. They must mail you their form or send you through email, whatever way they prefer. But January 31st is the due date. Make sure to request a form because that's the way to go right here. It's 31st. Make sure you request a form. Otherwise, you will not know if they're reporting on you, right? You might be thinking, hey, they didn't send me a form, or you might have moved and they might have sent the form to the old address. You have to get a copy. This is your responsibility. Make sure you get it. They will mail, but they might be mailing to a different address. All right. So make sure you get the form from them. Request a form from them. And then if they're not able to get the form to you, we have ways where you can report to the IRS that I'm not getting the forms. There are certain things that you can do. Uh, Again, if you get paid over $600, the form is there, and then you must be reporting it right here. So anybody who's getting paid more than $600, they should have a 1099 form issued to them. That is very important. And then report the income on your 1040. Right? Report the income on your 1040. It doesn't matter what form you're using, depending on your status. You can use that form, report the income, because you can write off taxes. Don't assume that your employer, the person who's paying you, is not going to report it, because there is a high chance they will be reporting it. You don't want to get a letter from the IRS 3-4 years down the road saying that they owe you, you owe them money. IRS will never send a letter that they owe you money. This is just not going to happen. All right. They will always send a letter that you owe them money. And then after 3-4 years, this will be a tough deal. We'll be stuck in a position where we'll end up paying more taxes, penalties, interest on top. Think about this. Just not the taxes, penalties and interest. All right. So don't make this mistake. Report the cash that you get, report the check you get, and when you get paid on the table. Make sure you write up all the expenses you can and pay as minimum tax possible. You will save penalties, interest later down the road. If you have any questions, shoot us an email, info@akifcpa.com. We are here to help you. Any questions, any scenario that you're in, send us an email, and then we'll be glad to help you. All right. Take care.